All right, welcome. Can anyone hear me? Check, check. Can anyone hear me? I'm still trying to see whether the mic is working, right? So, can anyone hear me? If you can hear me, please put something in the comments section. I can hear it. All right, great, great. All right. Again, we had to get through some technical difficulties, but we're on now and we're ready to go. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. Welcome everyone to uh, the Ethiopian Bible Study Series. I am your host, the High Priest Sakuma Zingami Lembu. This is episode 5, Judgment. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. We're going to be in the book of Genesis, chapter 6. Let's go ahead and get started. When men began to multiply on the surface of the ground, and daughters were born to them, God's sons saw that men's daughters were beautiful, and they took any that they wanted for themselves as wives. Right? Let's go ahead and hold there for a moment. So the sons of the Most High, the sons of Yah, they're referring to the Watchers, right? We know in the hidden books they get much in the details about what these Watchers were up to. They even go over their names and so forth and so on. But basically, these Watchers who were just supposed to guide mankind and, of course, watch them, obviously had other plans, wanted to be more hands on, so to speak, wanted to have children because they walked the eternal walk. And being that they walked the eternal walk, they didn't have children, right? Man was allowed to have children because man didn't live eternally. So they would live eternally through generations. That's how they would feel as if they had an extension of life through the life of their children. Whereas with the watchers, they literally walked the eternal walk. Therefore, um, they wasn't able to have children. But obviously, these watchers didn't like that limitation and created uh, bodies for themselves, corporeal bodies, in which through these bodies they could have children, which was obviously not the will of the Father. And again, the Most High makes his will plainly in the beginning. Went over how he made his will when it came to marriage, when it came to procreation, when it came to um, having offspring of your own kind. Well, these fallen watchers and what they was planning on executing in wickedness obviously didn't fit the bill to the desires of the Most High. It didn't fit his plan um, in regards to procreation, right? It didn't. These watchers were in a getting in relations with women of the earth, and so the children that they would bear, you know, would um, not be acceptable, mainly because it wasn't meant for heavenly beings at this time in this stage. to bear children of their kind with humans, right? So obviously there was going to be a problem in this. But let's continue. God's sons saw that men's daughters were beautiful, and they took any that they wanted for themselves as wives. And also recognize, even in this wickedness, even in the fact that these watchers are partaking in the flesh, even though they're spiritual beings, even though they're eternal beings, they're partaking in the flesh. They're not having girlfriends. They're not having friends with benefits. They're not having, um, some obscure one night stand. Even these watchers' wickedness and doing what the Most High did not want them to do, they still acquired for themselves wives. So these women wasn't just temporary. These women that they acquired for themselves were lifelong, for as long as the Most High was going to allow them to live. All praise and glory be to Yah. So these women that they acquired were actually wives, even though it was done in wickedness, because the Most High didn't intend for them to reprocreate, because they're not reprocreating with those of their own kind, because the angels didn't have what they would need in their angelic bodies to reprocreate. That's the reason why these watchers had to create bodies that could reprocreate with women on the earth, right? So obviously they were tampering with creation, even in the act of making bodies so that they could interact with the women of the earth and thus create children. Though they were giants, right? Though they upchucked the natural order of things in the earth, right? Because man was given dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds in the air, the animals, creepy things on the earth. Man was given dominion over these things. So the creation of giants, right? Moving ahead a little bit, the creation of giants obviously upchucked the natural order. Men couldn't be, rulers of the earth, having no natural predator. Once these giants were introduced into the creation, because these giants became man's predator. They began to eat and consume mankind. They were larger, stronger, in many cases more intelligent than man, and mankind, without the Most High's help, wasn't going to overcome these giants. So these watchers, not only did they break the commandment of the Most High by creating, um, by procreating with women of the earth, which was not their kind. They created giants that upset the natural order that the Most High had established when He put man above and control of this earth. These giants upset the order, right? Let's go back to the scriptures. Yahweh said, "My spirit will not strive with man forever, because he also is flesh. So his days will be 120 years." Okay. So uh, basically, the more man fell, uh, the less man could be in the presence of the Most High. See, before the fall, Adam was in the presence of the Most High walking in the garden in which the Most High had put him in. And he could walk with the Most High, he could talk with the Most High, he could spend time with the Most High and not be ashamed and not be afraid. But when his wife sinned with the serpent, and through that sin with the serpent, eating of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, and giving that to her husband, whom partook in that evil and wickedness, right? He could no longer remain in the garden, and subsequently, he could no longer be in the presence of the Most High, right? And as his descendants began to multiply, their sins began to multiply as well. And so the Most High wasn't going to continue to allow them to be in his presence, right? Think of what happened with Cain. Cain killed his brother. The Most High's presence came and spoke with Cain. He literally spoke with Cain in regards to the disposition of his brother, right? But as the sins began to multiply, as mankind began to fall further and further, the Most High was making a statement, basically stating that he won't continue to remain uh, with man. All praise and glory be to Yah. That he was going to remove himself from them, from their, or remove them from him. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. Go back to it. Yahweh said, "My spirit will not strive with man forever, because he also is flesh. So his days will be 120 years." Also, of course, as man began to go deeper and deeper off into the abyss of sin and wickedness, right? Um, the Most High capped their lifespan because he had told Adam that he would die that day, and Adam was able to live to 900 and some odd years. So originally, the cap the Most High had through the curse that he had given was less than 1,000 years, which is a day to the Most High. But as mankind slipped further and further into rebellion, further and further into sin, further and further into this devil and his wicked ways, the Most High decided to cap the lifespan of man from less than 1,000 all the way to 120 years, which is a huge cut in comparison to the 900 years plus that Adam was able to live, right? So obviously, the Most High, he didn't want to give them those kind of years. He wanted to make sure that they were capped at 120. And even to this day, you don't hear, not in truth, of people living anywhere beyond 120 years old. They may break over 100, but they don't go over 120. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. And that's even to this day. So again, this is facts, O ye sons and daughters of Jacob. Verse 4: The Nephilim were in the earth in those days, and also after that, when God's sons came in to man's daughters and had children with them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. All praise and glory be to Yah. So right here, the Most High is talking about the Nephilim, and he's also talking about their offspring, which are the mighty men, the men of old, the renowned men, which are the giants. But you can see that there are two different things. The Nephilim aren't the giants. The Nephilim are the fallen watchers who created bodies, corporeal bodies for themselves in order to make children. Those corporeal bodies that they created, right, are the Nephilim. The children that they bared are the giants, right? And we're making a distinction so that those there are those who would believe that the Nephilim and the giants are the same thing, and they're not. The Nephilim are the fallen watchers, the bodies that they created to interact in this dimension, in this physical dimension, in order to bear children with the women. The giants are their offspring that was created from the union of these Nephilim and these women. All praise and glory be to God. So let's go and read that again. The Nephilim, in parentheses, were in the earth in those days, and also after that, right? See, the fallen watchers, they came into the earth and they still exist. There may be some under the Euphrates River, right? And some in other places. All praise and glory be to God. But even after the flood, they still exist. Whereas the giants, um, you know, they were killed in the floods, but they existed afterward as well in caves and other places. We know that with the Chronicles of David, you know, uh, King David, who was a giant slayer. So the Most High would is basically stating that these things existed before the flood. They were obviously greatly decreased because of the flood, but yet there still remained the Nephilim and their seed after the flood. So it was greatly decreased, obviously, in comparison to the numbers that there were pre the flood, but the flood didn't make them go extinct, right? It just cut their numbers down so that they wasn't overrunning the earth. It's just like if you have a house and you have roaches, so to speak. You can use raid, you can use a fogger, you can greatly decrease the numbers of those pests in your house. But raid and the fog alone isn't enough to extinct these roaches. You can greatly decrease their numbers. You can barely see them anymore in terms of walking on your counter, you know, they're barely visible, but they still exist in the cracks of the walls. They still exist in the power sockets. They still exist in the crooks and the crannies. They still exist, though they've been greatly decreased in number. And that's the same way, it was with the Nephilim and their offspring, the giants, the men of renown, so to speak. Paraphrasing me so. At one point in time, there was in great number, but after the flood, utilizing the flood, the Most High greatly decreased their numbers so that they no longer could overrun the earth, ensuring, at least for a time, that mankind's dominion was still intact. All praise and glory be to Yah. All right, we're going to read it again. The Nephilim were in the earth in those days, and also after that, when God's sons came in to men's daughters and had children with them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of man's heart, was continually only evil, right? I'm stop for a moment. So basically, again, the Most High is making the acknowledgement, making it known that man's heart began to be evil. Of course, we know it is the influence of the devil, is the influence of the serpent, is the influence of now these fallen watchers, i.e., Nephilim, directly interacting in the world, creating giants, creating instability in the kingdom of man, creating violence and destruction. And of course, man is being influenced by all these wickedness and evil that's in this world, right? So the Most High is looking at this, and man is being consumed by evil. Man's heart, all praise and glory be to Yah. You know, and it is what it is. That's why the Most High tells the children of Israel through His Word not to give the devil a foothold. You give him a devil the foothold, you let him put his foot in your door, he's going to jerry rig that door wide open and bring forth every wickedness and evil into your heart. The door being the door to your heart, causing the inside of you to rot from the inside to the outside. It doesn't matter how good the outside looks. If the inside of your heart is rotted by evil and wickedness, it's going to begin to show on the outside. You ain't going to be able to hide it. The Most High sees the heart. But that being said, what is starts in the heart is it going to end in the heart. It's going to end in a total decomposition of your body, a walking corpse, like a zombie, right? I'm being metaphoric, of course. But if inside of you is dead man's bones, that dead man's stench isn't going to stay inside of you. It's going to manifest outwardly, externally, eventually. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father, right? And so man's heart was bad, was wicked. The darkness had consumed it as a whole. And so the Most High seeing this obviously was like, you know, he was done with it. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. He was going to do something life changing, something historic, something um, that the people living in that time couldn't even imagine. But let's continue, right? Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of man's heart was continually only evil. Yahweh was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him in his heart. Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the surface of the ground, man, along with animals, creeping things, and birds of the sky. For I am sorry that I made them, right? So we're gonna hold off for a moment. Now, just looking at today, man, you know, there's all kind of evil and wickedness, even more so than it was back in those days. All praise and glory, but yeah, we still got Nephilim. You got the United States government talking about they're having programs where forced sexual breeding between humans and aliens, which are really Nephilim, right? All praise and glory, but yeah, we have the gay and homosexual agenda, marriage in all 50 states, and Babylon's been pushing that agenda throughout the world for some time now. We have the erosion of the family, People don't want to be married anymore. People are more interested in hookup apps. They're more interested in sexual favors. They're more interested in being a sugar daddy. They're more interested in getting um, the milk and not buying the cow, right? So getting the milk for free, by the way. But even if it is the price, it's cheap in comparison to eternal life, right? They're getting the milk for cheap and refusing to purchase a cow. Of course, I'm being metaphoric, saying they're basically getting the sex and not the commitment of marriage, right? So, and of course, this is evil. The Most High established what was good early in Genesis in the creation, episode 1. So, with that um, cornerstone, we can build a foundation of understanding of what is good in the Most High's eyes in regards to family, marriage, uh, uh, children, the natural order that He has established. We have a better understanding of that because of what was established, what He had established in the beginning. So these Nephilim coming in and upchucking the order by taking wives of humans and having children of giants, right? One could understand clearly how that is evil and wicked, right? So we can see that that's evil and wicked clearly. So we, with that same understanding, can see why gay and homosexuality is evil and wicked. Can understand how girlfriend and boyfriend is evil and wicked. How all these factors that don't line up with the most high standard of marriage is evil. Those that don't stand up to it is evil and wicked, right? We don't have to believe what the government's talking about when it comes to gay and homosexual marriage being a human right. It don't match up to the scriptures. It don't stand up with the scriptures. It's against the will of the Most High that He made clear to us in the creation historical information. His will was made clear in how He created the earth and set up the order in which the earth would run. And the four things that I talked about, the four things that I mentioned, gay and homosexuality, marrying outside of your nation, um, not having marriages at all, but boyfriend, girlfriend, and all these alternate lifestyles, how all of those are evil and wicked because they don't line up with the will of the Father that He set in creation. So you can clearly see now, O ye sons and daughters of Jacob, you can clearly have the discernment between what is good and what is evil. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. And we haven't even gotten to the Ten Commandments. We're just utilizing the information that the Most High has given in Genesis to establish clearly what is good and what is evil. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. And then applying that knowledge to what's going on today, right? All praise and glory be to Yah. That way we may avoid doing what is evil and wholeheartedly do what is good in the eyes of the Most High. right? Choosing a wife of our youth, of our nation, having children in our own likeness, right? Doing what the Most High would have us to do, doing this work. Come back to Him in spirit and in truth, according to scriptures, representing the Most High to these nations in spirit and in truth, right? Taking care of our wives, our children, our family, of course, and so forth and so on. And we know what not to do, and that is to not to get entangled in any of these subversive, alternative lifestyles of the rich and famous or the evil and wicked, right? Not to follow their way. Let's go back to the scriptures. Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of man's heart was continually only evil, right? So these wicked who put their heart to evil, they can never have enough, man. It's not like they're going to be evil for 24 hours, have their fill of killing, murdering, raping, destroying, evil, be full and decide to turn a new leaf. No, once it's rotted in their heart, that's the way they're going to walk until the day their judgment comes upon them, right? All praise and glory be to Yah. They wasn't just going to naturally stop. This is why the Most High was contemplating bringing forth the judgment. He had watched them. He had seen the depths of the evil and the wickedness that was growing in their hearts on a continual basis, and he judged that it was time for them to go. It was time for him to unalive them all. All praise and glory be to Yah. I mean, and it is what it is. And that's the same thing's going to happen in this day, right? I mean, again, the United States government has admitted to having a forced procreation with aliens, what they call aliens. We know they're Nephilim. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. As per what we've learned in the creation. Praise be to Yah. So, as in the days of Noah, we're back in those days, obviously. It's been revealed, right? That's why the Most High was saying that the Nephilim were in the earth in those days and also after that. Speaking of the Nephilim was there in the beginning, right? In creation, when they came down, and they're in the end. The after that speaks of the end. If the before the flood is the beginning, then after the flood, they will be here to the end. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. Let's go back to the scriptures. Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the surface of the ground, man, along with animals, creeping things, and birds of the sky, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in Yahweh's eyes, right? So this also shows you that, yes, the Most High was mad and grieved because of the evil and wickedness that man had become, had embodied, right? But yet at the same time, Noah found favor in the Most High. So basically, he could walk and chew gum. He could be angry at, let's say, Edom over here, and be joyous with Jacob over here, right? He can destroy all the nations and yet preserve Israel, though they won't go wholly unpunished, right? He can send destruction and judgment to the world for its evil, and yet send salvation unto the remnant, his chosen. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. Why is this important? Because the wicked believe that if thermonuclear destruction happens, that the righteous and the wicked will burn together. The wicked believe that death comes to everyone, both the righteous and the wicked. So why do righteously if death is the reward for both? They believe that they might as well get everything out of this earth, everything out of this life, because death is certain and death is coming to both of them. Whereas here in Genesis, the Most High is showing us, right, that though He called for the judgment, i.e., the destruction of the world, He was going to preserve His chosen. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. And He's doing this simultaneously, just like what's coming to America, just like what's coming to this world, right? When the nuclear bombs drop, when the disease kills from one end wonderfully from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth, when the judgment falls, right, the Most High is going to preserve His chosen. All praise and glory be to Yah. And that's what's up, right? So the wicked obviously is wrong when their thought is that they're going to do everything they want to do because when the judgment hits, when death comes, it's going to happen to everybody. I remember when me and the Anointed King was teaching in the beginning in the Fulton Mall, and some guy was like, you know, when the bombs drop, basically you're gonna die with us. What's gonna happen to you? What's gonna happen to them is gonna happen to you too. And the Anointed King was like, nah, we had no part in. I'm paraphrasing the decision making of this wicked country, and y'all willing, His chosen ain't gonna suffer the same fate as this wicked nation. Those who come back to the Most High in spirit and truth, and that was true. And it is supported by the creation account because the Most High in the creation account was bringing forth judgment upon the earth, right? But yet He was already setting up the salvation of Noah and his family, of the chosen. That was in the beginning, and that's going to be in the end. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. We're in the 7 year Great Tribulation. We know judgment is about to strike this place at any moment. Looking at the beginning, understanding the will of the Father through what He has revealed about the beginning, creation, is giving us understanding and foreknowledge of how He plans on dealing with the end. When Babylon goes down, when